Hi, I'm Daniel from EDELRID, and this is our new brake assistant, the OHMEGA. The OHMEGA is a rope brake that can be used for all types of climbing, indoors in the gym, outdoors on the rocks, or even in multi-pitch routes on a single rope. Like its grandfather, the OHMEGA is initially designed to compensate for weight differences between belayer and the climber, and thereby making belaying easier. However, the OHMEGA has some additional functions, which is why we have decided to call this type of device a brake assistant. In this video, I explain how to use the OHMEGA in its basic functions. And in a second video, we will present an outlook on the advanced functions and possible applications of the OHMEGA. The basic idea of the OHMEGA is to attach the device to the first bolt of a route and otherwise belay as usual with the belay device. In the event of a fall, the tension in the rope activates the device's clamping mechanism, and it acts as an additional brake between the climber and the belayer. The impulse and the forces now acting on the belayer are significantly lower than without the OHMEGA, and the risk of the belayer being pulled against the wall and getting injured is considerably reduced. There are two ways of attaching the OHMEGA to the first anchor. Either the device is opened while still on the ground by pressing the silver button. The rope is inserted in climbing direction with graphics inside the device providing support. The OHMEGA is closed and the climber hangs the device on the gear loop, ideally on the side of the hand with which the first bolt is to be clipped. Once at the first anchor, the device is clipped into the anchor with a prepared rope, and from this point on it will develop its braking effect in the event of a fall, no matter if the fall is directly to the device or to a higher anchor. Alternatively, the device is attached to the first bolt in advance or left hanging. When the climber reaches the first bolt, he opens the device, inserts the rope in the direction of climbing, and closes the device. To activate the camming function, the device needs a small angle in the rope. Therefore, the best position for the belayer is the ground projection of the first anchor, and then 1 meter out and optional 1 meter to the left or to the right. During climbing, friction occurs between the rope and the carabiners or the wall surface, and friction usually is the greatest where the angle of deflection is the greatest, which is often the case in the first quick draw. In the OHMEGA, the rope runs over a pulley while climbing, which significantly reduces friction in the belay chain. Thanks to the spring tension with which the clamping lever is pre-tensioned, the device does not tend to activate accidentally, even when the rope runs at an angle. In the event of a fall, the belayer applies tension to the rope to activate the OHMEGA's clamping mechanism. The OHMEGA's braking resistance can be adjusted in 3 stages to accommodate different weight ratios, friction scenarios, or preferences. If the sling is pulled out of the back of the device in plus mode, it brakes at least so strongly that the climber appears to be 10 kilograms lighter, which we call the compensation value. If the sling is pulled out of the front of the device in the triple plus mode, it guarantees a braking effect that compensates for a weight difference of at least 30 kilograms. In the plus plus mode, which means the sling is pulled into the middle position and both ends of the slings are hooked in with the carabiner, the device compensates at least 20 kilograms. If the device is to be used permanently in the plus plus mode, the back loop of the sling can be girth hitched over the front loop of the sling for easier handling. Thick ropes, old and furry ropes, damp ropes, or additional friction in the belay chain generally increases the braking effect even more. If the device is hanging on the wall, the front of the sling shows the adjusted mode. So either 1 plus in blue, 3 pluses in green, or both slings are hooked in. The compensation mode can be changed without removing the rope from the device. Due to the short sling, the OHMEGA activates immediately, which makes precise dynamical belaying much easier. If the climber rests hanging in the rope very close to the highest anchor and then wants to start climbing again, the tension in the rope may remain, preventing the OHMEGA from opening its clamping mechanism. The mechanism can then be released by the climber briefly releasing the rope completely or by the belayer shaking the rope a bit. The OHMEGA can be recovered as follows. The belayer lowers the climber down the route while the climber collects the quick draws. When the climber reaches the anchor on which the OHMEGA is located, the climber attaches a quick draw to the central ring of his harness and clips the opposite side into the anchor underneath the OHMEGA carabiner. The belayer can then remove all tension from the rope, allowing the climber to unclip the OHMEGA carabiner from the anchor and hang it in the central ring of the harness. The belayer then pulls the rope tight again, the climber unhooks the quick draw and is lowered, maintaining the friction of the OHMEGA. Attention! There is a risk of uncontrolled swinging of climber and belayer when unhooking the first anchor on routes that are very overhanging or run sideways. If in doubt, it may be safer to first lower the climber completely to the ground and then get the OHMEGA from the first bolt just by climbing. The OHMEGA can also be used for belaying in top rope. The easiest way to do this is to attach the OHMEGA as usual to the first bolt of the route or of a neighboring route and then belay as usual. If the top rope station is to be used for a longer period, in combination with the OHMEGA, the device can also get attached to the top anchor to redirect the rope. The OHMEGA is then hung into the top anchor, the rope is placed in the device and the device is closed. A second quick draw or an additional locking carabiner as an unloaded redundancy is attached parallel to the OHMEGA. Caution! In this application, the load on the pulley of the OHMEGA is really very high, which means that a reduced service life of the bearing must be expected during continuous operation of this application. The OHMEGA, the perfect adjustable device to compensate for weight differences, reduce the friction in the belay chain, and provide you a completely new belay experience. Or, as Tommy Caldwell said,
it makes my life so much easier.